What is it about memes and stickiness of ideas that's so important? Why do you think that's so crucial to get right?
So the first point is that meme itself, the word, is an ironic word.
The Keynesian beauty contest. What's that?
So the Keynesian beauty contest is this idea of different levels of human interaction with things. So let's say you lined up 100 people and Chris has to go rank them in order of who's the most attractive. That's like level 1. But level 2, that's quite a simple idea. But level 2 is when you're also predicting what everybody else in the room will think. And what's really interesting is what Chris will rank is very different to what he will think everybody else will think. And then level 3 is another layer when you have to factor in everybody else knowing that everybody else is playing the game. And what's interesting is when they run these experiments, let's say they ask people to rate the cutest dog video, what they think is the cutest versus what the group, then when they vote for the group will be the cutest, it completely becomes different. So when people are aware of other people's perceptions, it completely shapes things. So in terms of like a practical application for this, there was a period where the Lib Dems were voting higher and higher in the polls, almost up there with Conservative and Labour. So people were saying, oh, these guys are great, these guys are great. But then when it comes to that level 2 thing, well, what is everybody else going to vote for? People don't actually vote for them because they're factoring in everybody else. So when you're dealing with thinking systems or other people and predicting what they're going to do, the behavior becomes a lot more complex as a result.
Yeah, there's an interesting study that was done on women giving their level of education when they know that other people are going to see the answers and when they think that it's going to be kept private. And female intrasexual competition says that women should downplay their successes so that they don't get sabotaged by potential other females that are trying to derogate them or manipulate them in some way. And what it means is that when women know that other people are going to see their answers, they downplay what it is that they've achieved. When they're keeping it private, they tend to be a little bit more truthful. But you know the Abilene paradox?
No.
Familiar with this? Oh, mate, you're going to absolutely adore this. So Gwynder first introduced me to it, right? And it's just, again, when you see it, you can't unsee it. The Abilene paradox is a situation in which a group makes a decision that is contrary to the desires of the group's members because each member assumes the others approve of it. It explains how a number of accurate individuals can become idiots when they get together. So think Emperor's New Clothes, in a way. An acquaintance invites you to his wedding despite not wanting you there because he thinks you want to attend. You attend despite not wanting to because you think he wants you there. At a business meeting, someone suggests an idea he thinks the others will like, perhaps recruiting a trans influencer as the face of the brand. Each member has misgivings about this, but assumes the others will think that they are transphobic if they speak out, so everyone approves the idea despite no one liking it. Or every member of a family in North Korea who hates communism, but they never mention this to each other because each assumes that the others approve of it.
You have this, or I've had this on social occasions as well, where you'll be at dinner and it'll be getting later and later, and nobody's left yet. And sometimes I'll be sat there looking at the clock. Am I going to leave? Am I going to leave? And then one person leaves.
The high agency exit. It's a Mexican wave of people exiting.
The whole thing exits. And what's beautiful about the Keynesian beauty contest is it deals with reflexive systems where people's perceptions shape reality and reality shapes perceptions. There's this great, so George Soros, there's this amazing Financial Times article that he wrote about reflexivity. And Taleb said this on Ferris, I didn't know if you knew this, that Soros wanted to be a philosopher, but basically just had this shadow career of crashing the pound and becoming like one of the biggest hedge fund managers in there. But one of his ideas is this concept of reflexivity, which is like, so a statement of the weather is going to be rainy today. That's not reflexive because I'm dealing with a natural phenomenon in the sense that my thinking or my words doesn't shape reality. So if you said that on TV, it doesn't change the weather. Yep. But if you go on TV and go, this is a revolutionary moment, the statement impacts reality. So you see these feedback loops between perception, reality, thinking and reality. So when you're dealing with human beings, the systems are so much more complex, which is why you see these meme stocks pump and down, because everybody else is thinking the meme stock is going to pump as well.
So that everyone is trying to not only work out what they think about a thing, but future project what other people will think about a thing and then adapting their projection and trajectory of the future to account for that.
Yes, and then also thinking that other people are thinking that about the overall thing as well. So that's how complex things can become.
Robin Dunbar taught me that the main reason, in his opinion, that human beings' brains got so big is not so that we could more accurately remember where the food is, or use tools, or fire, or contemplate the higher mysteries. It's because if you live in a 30-person pod of a 150-person tribe, and I know George, and I know that George is friends with Dean, but Dean used to be friends with George's ex-friend Josh, and now Dean and Josh, and it's this very complex intersecting web of hierarchies and who's in and who's out and by how much and who used to be like this. So the human brain largely is a like Facebook friend tracker. With knobs and dials that you can keep in touch with. And that's why he said that human brains got so big, because computationally, to try and do, this, it's like, 1 squared versus 2 squared versus 3 squared versus 4 squared, the numbers just run away with each other. And that's kind of how it works. It's like 30 squared. It's like 30 people, and each of their interactions with each different person now and in the past and in the future, and what do we think is going to happen.
I think the idea of reflexivity as a whole, and then when you see it, you can't unsee it. I don't know if you've ever done any cognitive behavioral therapy, but there's this most simple model in there, which when you go, okay, this all makes sense now. And it's like the reflexivity of the human mind, where you have a triangle, which is how you think, how you act, how you feel, and all three of them impact one another. So how you feel impacts how you think and act, how you act impacts how you think and feel, and how you think impacts how you feel and act. And then when you begin to see this triangle constantly exist, and I had the biggest midwit meme moment ever whilst I was away. I was in Lake Como, perfect scenes, and I was driving this little speedboat, and I was like, I'm fucking James Bond right now. Like, I'm living the dream, right? Anyway, I see a video back, and my face is like, I said to the person who filmed the video, I go, is this what my face is like all the time? They go, yeah, you never really smile.
Resting bitch face.
Yeah, I had resting bitch face. And I honestly think one of the highest ROI things of just shaping perception is, I mean, you told me you have a tattoo of a smile there.
Yeah, it's a smile, yeah.
And listening to the Sam Harris podcast you did of checking on the present moment, and just rather than focus on the breath, just focus on how your facial expressions are.
Right.
And just the simple, it is the highest thing of just moving it to a brief smile. Your perception completely changes, but B, as a reflective system, rather than people going, fucking hell, that guy's really serious, it's like, oh, that guy's a bit fun.
Treat him as something else. Before we even get into talking about the most important memes that I want to run through with you, what is it about memes and stickiness of ideas that's so important? Why do you think that's so crucial to get right?
So the first point is that meme itself, the word, is an ironic word. It's kind of like dyslexia. Like, no dyslexics can spell dyslexia. And the word meme is itself quite a bad meme, because when you say meme to most people, what do they think? They think of
dog photo
on the internet. So you need to zoom out a little bit first and go, a meme is essentially just a spreadable idea, and how the story spreads from people to people. So dog photos is part of that, but you have OK Boomer, you have Karen.
Learn to code.
Make America Great Again. Like, all these things, whether you hate them, love them, whatever, are memes, and they spread. And you see this where there's ideas that have existed that haven't had the right meme, kind of like a product that hasn't had the right marketing. And then you create a meme for it, and like, charisma's been around for so long. People have spoke about it, but it's always so nerdy.
I love this idea of you.
Charisma was like the most uncharismatic topic to talk about, ironically.
Sorry, Charlie Hooper.
Sorry. But all of a sudden, you create the word Riz, and
everyone wants Riz.
And then the language shapes perception, and then people are actually talking more about it. Same with the word ick. Like, the fact that you then have this placeholder to then discuss these things. But I think the fundamental thing with a good meme is almost look at it like a simple algorithm. And thanks to COVID, like I've known about K factors for ages, right? Or R numbers. It's essentially for, let's say with COVID, different strains, how if I had it, or one person had it, how many people they spread it to. So if you go over one, then it's exponential growth. This is a big thing in the startup and tech space for a while. So when you're analyzing a Facebook coming along, how many, when Chris joins, if he brings one more person with him, on average, then just infinite growth until it disappears. But with a meme, what you need for that K factor is essentially the level of emotion and the friction for it to spread and how simple it is to understand. The more complex it is, the less the meme. Whereas when you shorten it down to Riz and it's catchy and it's three letters, all of a sudden it can have such an impact.
2 Zs? Is it 4?
Could be. Oh,
right. Depends if you're north or south London. Yeah, I was talking to the dude that founded Legendary Foods, the cinnamon roll thing that I gave you earlier on, and I was saying to him, what do you call the category of products that you've got there? We've got a craft for everyone that's pointing in this direction. There's a craft table filled with protein goods over there, and I was like, what do you call what you do? And he's like, we've been trying to nomenclature this for ages, because the closest thing is protein bar, right? But it doesn't capture what's there, because there's crisps and there's a cinnamon roll and there's a Pop-Tart and there's like donuts and stuff. So it's not a protein bar. A health snack, a protein conscious confectionery treat, like healthy sweet, like what, and it's all about getting the meme right.
Yes.
And if you get the meme right, everything downstream from that works. The episode I did with Eric Weinstein, he made a really nice tweet about the fact that he was talking about making the temporary archival, I think, or the ephemeral archival. And he likes the idea of filming things in high quality because it gives it more gravitas and more evergreen sort of Lindy nature. But he said to me over text, in a stickiness arms race, great ideas don't stick around because they're insufficiently sticky. So you can have an amazing idea that's called protein bar, but it needs a better meme name.
Yeah.
And you can do the reverse as well, which is what people are very skeptical of, which is this is a cool sounding name, product, category, movement, whatever, but there's no there, no right? Substance. It's just meme and all meme, no substance.
Yeah. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's already happened, so I don't even think this is a crazy prediction, but you look at the 2024 election or insert future elections now thanks to social media, that will be decided by who has the best memes, not who has the best policies. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. And I think the key thing to then factor in is now you have global internet, and the next level you're kind of seeing it now is Spotify. 2 years from now, maybe we'll be speaking right now in Portuguese because of this AI language translation. So you then factor in language is no longer going to be a barrier. Internet adoption is going to be completely global as like parts of the third world fully hop online and the older generation dies out. The ability for a meme to go from nothing to 24-hour infestation of the entire world like a virus, either positive and beautiful or negative and destructive, is about to happen.
I was talking to somebody who his book title was a pun, right? Which is kind of like a meme, like a play on words. It was like a book about sex called You're Doing It Wrong or something like that, right? And he mentioned that he was selling the translation rights, but because words, what you're doing with puns specifically, which is a kind of meme, is playing in multiple interpretations of the same word or the same sentence. But by design, that doesn't translate over into other languages. So his great piece of advice was, if you're going to write a book title that you intend to go international, don't use a pun, because you can end up like talking about the flight of pigeons or something by accident because they're trying to retrofit your pun to this new language, which doesn't work, which means that you have to either compromise the pun entirely or keep the pun but lose what the actual context is.
Well, on that specific point, to explain memes is essentially to say people judge your book by its cover. The age-old advice of don't judge your book by its cover is because people judge the book by its cover.